Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Welcome, everybody, to the Spiritual Rockstar Podcast Show. I am so grateful that you're here. We've got an amazing guest. He's got an amazing heart, and he's like one of those irresistible kind of hearts that just you're like, oh, I love this guy, you know. So he's just got that irresistibility in his energy, and I'm so grateful for him. And he's got incredible expertise when it comes to relationships and women attracting and being the energy of, drawing in what they want in relationships and more. I'll let him talk more about it, but he's got it going on. So, Corey, I'm grateful to have you here.
Thank you, Daniel. Glad to be here.
All right. So let me go ahead and share more about you with everybody. So Corey Lyon Folsom has been a professional tracker, wilderness guide for newly sober people, and a vision quest leader. After a spiritual soul awakening, Corey participated in Ipsalu. Is that how you say that?
Ipsalu.
Ipsalu. Sorry, I meant to ask you before we got started. Source School of Tantra Yoga, Love Coach Academy, and Tony Robbins programs. Today, Corey is a certified NLP practitioner and love and relationship coach who assists persons from all around the world to increase soulfulness, clarity, and ease with which they experience life. Corey is passionate about helping people expand their empathy and communication skills. What an amazing background. And Corey, I'm just looking through your background. I'm just in the work you do now. You told me you work with 98% women currently anyway. And what's brought you down this road of doing all this work you do in the world, first of all?
Well, gosh, I certainly wasn't the guy that people would say he's going to do, great things in the area of interpersonal relations. I was the super shy, kind of bookish kid in school, and I never initiated a conversation with a girl until well after high school. But life went on, and I got a little more confident and developed some areas of expertise. And over time, I got married, and I had a couple kids, and, life got better.
Wow. Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, I was called Mr. Invisible in high school, so I get the whole, being shy, and I didn't date any girls whatsoever. Not maybe to the point of not talking to any girls, but a little bit there, but definitely similar on that end. So I get that. And so you've got that, heart and soul that aches to share in the world. And we're going to be talking, by the way, guys, much more about that as part of this energy scan show. We're going to be diving into his energy and how amazing he is, and about his business and whatnot. And you guys are going to learn so much from that as well. But we're first going to spend some time learning about his work, and how it helps, and things that you guys can utilize, in your relationships and drawing forth what you want in relationships. So, Corey, you've got this book out that looks pretty awesome. 4.5 years in the making. I know it's got to be awesome, right? So, and I don't have my own solo book. I've got an ebook, but I don't have a solo book out there yet. So, Soul Statements, your Soul Statements book. Tell us about your Soul Statements book.
Well, it is, as you alluded to, a culmination of what I've gathered and learned and integrated and shared with others. And I thought, I should share this with a bigger audience. That was really the genesis. That, and I saw how my coaching clients were getting such great benefit from a few tools in particular. And I thought, I better write about this. So that's where it came from. And, a soul statement itself is a present time reminder of what is true and good and unchanging about yourself. So it's an affirmation, but it's a present time already true that you can anchor to.
Mm-hmm. So in other words, it's not like, well, I'm hoping to get there. Hopefully, eventually I will be this person. I'll keep saying it till I am that person.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you generate these soul statements in a way that it is accurate already? Like you already are, how does that work? Like, because a lot of times there's affirmations about improving yourself. You got to get better, the self-improvement kind of game. So how do you approach these soul statements?
Yeah. So, well, I'll just start off with an example of one soul statement is my heart is a trusted guide. And so perhaps you're already tuned into that. And so you can say, oh, well, that's an obvious soul statement for me. So when in times where I'm feeling a little bit less than, or maybe a little confused or distracted or a little distressed, you can, pull that out of your back pocket, maybe put your hand on your heart to affirm, my heart is a trusted guide, and or my heart knows what to do. And so if you want to perhaps go deeper or expand into other situations, perhaps other soul statements, my main recommendation is just to spend time in contemplation, in getting quiet and still, because the idea is to contact your center where your truth is obvious, where it's not some crazy download perhaps, but it's just a neutral knowing. Like your bones already know, like my soul knows what to do. I can call upon the grit inside of me. And so that soul statement that you've developed through this being quiet, connecting with your center, accessing the wisdom that's right there, then you can apply those when you want to calibrate your surface thoughts with what your soul and your bones know to be true. So I
Yeah,
also think of it as like an emotional postcard from your center. Like, here's where you belong. This is the ground, the spiritual ground that you can stand on.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, a statement like that would seem like would be good for almost everybody, right? I mean, I can that you can trust your heart, basically, right? That my heart's leading the way, and that gives us a lot of empowerment. I mean, I know that's somehow one of my affirmations. I don't even know because it's an unconscious affirmation I keep making. I consciously make it, but whatever it is, I'm like constantly like refocusing myself into the heart deeper, like, and then radiating the heart, right? So I just keep focusing with that. So a statement like that, like you said, would be like a universal almost statement for people. Now, do you help people to craft their own individual ones that are more specific to them? Is that true too?
Yes. And so it might sound a little like all encompassing, but if that's what's really present for a given person, say they're dealing with, say, self-doubt at times, and their soul statement might be something like, what's right about me is always available, or I am enough. And so even though it's universal, it's maybe specific to their questioning, or they're forgetting their own power, their own lovableness. And that's what's, appropriate for them in those times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
because I
then,
mean, I could see
mhm.
where you could go wrong with certain affirmations thinking they're true. Like, I'm always having fun, but the truth is we're not, right? Our fun is number one until it's not, or like things that aren't always going to be true when we develop these statements. But something like what you said with the heart, like that just rings eternally true. It's like it'll always be true is what I got with that one. Is that how they it sounds like that's how they tend to be. So you like you said, it's already true, it's already who you are or whatever. It's not like you've got to try to get there. That's so liberating because so many people are trying to come up with these grand statements and affirmations to get somewhere, when there's these, deep truths that are already true, that you could just allow yourself to, deepen with those fundamental truths about yourself that are always true. You're never going to be not true. That's amazing.
Yeah. And when you state whatever this soul statement is for you, when you say it on the inside, maybe you say it outside depending on, or externally depending on where you are and the company you're with, but um, it's ideally that you're generating some kind of feeling, this, oh yes, I agree with that, I feel it deeply. And and so it's like you're taking a dip from your emotional well, that spirit water that sustains you. And so uh another soul statement might be, there's a place at my center where I can tune out everything that is not me. And so that might be well, and I'm thinking of that one in particular because I can remember times where I felt really connected and integrated and at one with my center. So the true me, my essence, was felt at my surface, and I'm in a total agreement and alignment with that. And so when I say something like, "There's a place at my center where I can tune out everything that's not me," I'm also remembering that time where I really got it. And I almost go back there a little bit, like, yes, I got a piece of that. And maybe my cells vibrate with agreement, or my bones just settle into like uh, an ease and go, whoa, yeah, that's it. And, there's another one when I say the contentment of the mountains lives inside of me. That
Mm-hmm.
brings me back to a certain place and a certain time where I was in the mountains, and there's this beautiful, quiet spring, and everything was so, it just felt like utter contentment. And I was part of it. I was there, and I could drop in and be with that contentment and feel it matching in me. And so when I say that, I'm in a way returned to that place and know that it still lives inside of me, that possibility that that contentment's available.
Mm-hmm. Right. I would think that that would help people, because a lot of people in relationships, if they're in a relationship, if they're having frustration or things aren't, flowing well at the time, there's no contentment, right? So, and you're like, I'm not content because of them, but you can find that contentment within yourself, right? Or if you're on your own, you're like, I'm so lonely, and nobody, none of these guys are any good, or none of these guys are a match, or whatever it is, like, I'm not content. I always feel not whole. And that, something like this would help people to realize, okay, like a relationship would be great, and I'm already content. I'm already happy. I'm already foundationally happy. Is I would imagine that's part of the work that you do with some of your clients. I would think. I'm just guessing after all these years of helping people myself and so many other people that I've studied from and talked with. So
Yeah, and the soul statement, connecting to that, ideally connecting to the emotion of that, allows for some self assurance, some okayness, so that when someone else is in distress or expressing a lower vibration or running an unhelpful story, we can remember that, I'm not them, their story is their story. We can also remember, perhaps, hey, I've been there, I've run unhelpful stories ad nauseum, and have a little compassion and empathy that, wow, that's a tough place to be. Because in the meanwhile, I have my soul statement to say, my inner knowing is available to me. When I trust love, I can handle whatever happens. And so it allows us to be a little more allow other people a little more space because we first allowed ourselves a little more space.
Right. So the way I always see it is, when we're judging other people, right? You know what I'm already going to say? We're judging ourselves. It always really comes down. You don't think you are. Oh, it's totally. I'm just mad at them, and they're this, they're that. And okay, but if you take a deeper look, usually it's like, oh, geez, it's like I wish. What's wrong with me? Why do I keep, doing this or that, or like really, that's like what's underneath it. Is that what you find too?
Absolutely. And I really have found that when a person's mad at someone else, the deeper unhappiness, the deeper anger is like, oh, I let myself be subjected to that again. I let it go on. I didn't stand up for my own values of safety or serenity. And I just let it happen. And I'm mad at myself because I'm better than that. I know better than that. And I let it go on. Let it go on too long. And so um, that's really this kind of self abandonment that is at the heart of a lot of our unhappiness with, oh, it happened again because I abandoned my voice. I didn't speak up.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Interesting. So you help with both people who are in relationships and getting into the relationships they want. You help with both. Is that correct?
That is correct, Daniel. And a lot of the couples that come to me they kind of fall into two categories. One would be a couple that has been in what I call an intimacy drought, where and they want to return to loving contact and being gentle and intimate with each other, but they don't. It's been so long. It's like, oh, where do we start? How do we begin? So that's one, and the other is oftentimes where maybe it's typical that the woman has made progress with her self-development and her maybe her spirituality and connecting to who she really is, and maybe she would now some behaviors that were tolerated before with her partner aren't so easily tolerated, and kind of wants to maybe to get up to speed and maybe be understood or at least acknowledge that, hey, I'm growing, and I want this to be respected and honored.
Mm-hmm.
And then the single persons, typically they want to prepare themselves to meet someone special, but they're scared, they're apprehensive that they're going to get into another situation that mimics past situations that were less than optimal. And so they don't want to repeat the same BS again. So they're like, I want to do it differently this time is the message. Yeah. And then I help people with dating too, but really before we get there or maybe during that process, it's really an exploration of falling in love with yourself so that you're going to speak up when something isn't working for you in future situations.
That's very interesting. I mean, you're talking about people in their love relationships and helping women with that, and I just say just briefly here, like a lot of these principles work on so many different levels because we're dating so many different things, we're in relationship with so many things, we're right, and so it's like, well, here I am again in this situation with my health or with this or that. And I would think like it's almost like the same process or there's similarities anyway. I mean, what are you communicating to your body, right? I mean, like all those things. And like, what are we saying to ourselves again and again? Oh, here goes this health condition again. And why me again? And if we did the same work, similar work, probably get similar results. Oh my God, I'm starting to feel better, and it seems like the pain's going away, or I'm healing, or I'm not saying it works every single time with something like that, but you know, that there's a lot to that. So I think like it's such a um, deeper, holistic, or something kind of way of, or whatever, you know, this deep kind of way of really transforming anything in our lives. And yet, like, you're focused on that, you know, the love relationship with yourself and others, in that primary relationship in your life, primarily, it sounds like. Is that correct?
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we bring awareness to our own part in things, as we develop this inner honesty, well, I should say, develop the courage to have more and more inner honesty, one of the things we end up realizing is that, oh, I'm the common denominator in all of my relationships, all of my intimacies. And one question that I will ask people is, what's your partner's chief complaint regarding you or your behavior? Was that the chief complaint in your other relationships to that point too? And oftentimes it is like, oh my gosh, they're all complaining about this same aspect or the same behavior. Oh, yeah. So,
Right, right.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
How that happen? Yeah, that's what. I mean, most of us that are, you know, on this path for a while know that right now. But like, wow, I just keep getting the same relationship. How's that happen? I mean, I'm just some unfortunate soul. They just keep finding me these bad guys or bad women if it was a guy. But I know you work mostly with women, and so yeah, it's yeah, there's a lot of dynamics there, right? Let's talk briefly about that with women and relationships. It's so complex, it seems, these days in some ways, right? In terms of conditioning and programming. Um, you know, women are, be self-empowered, you know, don't, you know, it's time for women to take charge. And do you ever have you know, clients that get a little confused about that too? Like, I don't know, should I be more yielding and you know, be more in the yin or the feminine more? Should I take more charge? Sometimes I just want to just take charge in these relationships, and like you've run into that dynamic.
Oh, sure. It's really common, and it's all it's it's like a brave new world in terms of roles and what's expected. And so the good news is that intimacy is maintained by learned skills, and people come together for perhaps chemistry or some other attraction, but they stay together by applying good practices. And these are learned, like being able to say, pay attention to your impact on another person, being curious about what's going on with them, maybe acknowledging. And the thing I love about acknowledgement is you don't have to agree. So I'm not agreeing with your story or your assessment, but I can acknowledge, oh, this is real for you. I can see that it's causing you distress. So that's a beautiful place to start. And so and there's attitudes like, the one I love is that your partner wasn't drafted for this position of
Mm-hmm.
your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend. They're a volunteer. And so perhaps maybe we shouldn't treat them like they were drafted. Like they're not obligated to stay or to listen or anything else. They have a beautiful heart. That's why they're here. And so the success comes from how we manage differences, how we manage internal tension. And so if we're able to soothe our own
Mm-hmm.
heart, if we're able to hold a little bit of judgment and just be curious and find out what's going on with the other person, and have space for each other to be vulnerable, to share in a non evaluatory way, a non finger pointing way, this is the impact on me. And I think just the behavior of speaking to your own experience versus saying, I think you're a dummy dog because you did these things. But instead saying, hey, when X happened, not saying whose fault it was, not saying who did what, but this thing happened, it caused me to feel insecure or worried or concerned or whatever it is. So this happened. This is what was it. This is what it was like to be me. And that's a great place to start.
Mm-hmm. Now, there may be some people intrigued with the intro, or we talked about you studied with Tantra and all that. So I just had somebody on, like they're a couple, and they were talking about more of the bedroom intimacy aspect of Tantra, and those sorts of things along those lines. Let me just put it that way. I don't want to say what what they're all about, because I still don't know for 100%, even though I just did an interview with them, right? So I don't want to talk where I'm not an expert in, but I just say, like, they were talking about that. And so I know that you have a background in that, is my point, and that it seems to me like there's such willing to open ourselves up and slow down and just be open to be intimate, like that's like something that really came through and evaluating all their materials that I was looking at and prepping and pre-interview, post-interview, and interviewing them. Like, that was a huge part. Like, it was just like be open to intimacy and connect with each other. Like, it was essentially like a huge part of it was at the foundation anyway. The first level was that simple. Just get
Mm-hmm.
intimate with each other,
Mm-hmm.
open your heart, intimate physical intimacy, just touch each other, be, caress her a little bit, like, or whatever. Like, I don't, like, whatever, like, just basic things, like, for on both sides. Like, there's this lack of trust that often women have to give themselves, right? Like, I don't feel safe yet. I don't feel right to give myself emotionally or sexually or whatever. And but just being willing to get a little bit more intimate, trust a little bit more, seemed to be one of the, and I know this already, but like, it was really emphasized, with this recent interview I did. So how do you help people with that? Like, are there tips you have if they're feeling really disconnected in a relationship and there's no magic anymore? Maybe they've been with the person for a while, or things are just flat right now. What are a couple of tips before we get into the energy scanning stuff you give people to kind of bring more aliveness into the relationship again?
Yeah. So a few things come to mind. One is to have what I call a behavioral floor. So you don't have to be awesome all the time, but don't be terrible ever. So, and people oftentimes will be too honest in that they think, oh, well, I feel this or that, so I'm going to share my evaluation, what I think of this other person. Like, I think you're a dummy dog is, and that's really not a good use of honesty, is telling somebody else what I think of them. And a better use of honesty is, oh, what was my part in that? How did I have a factor in this? And so that's number one, is the behavioral floor. And another one is, I call it non-obligation touch. So in my experience is, too many people don't touch because they're afraid of the implication. Oh, this means I'm up for more than I'm up for. And so
Mm-hmm.
they hold back. It's like, well, but just, a little hand behind the back of the neck, a little touch on the elbow with a warm eyes and a friendly smile, say, oh, thank you. I noticed you did this. I appreciate it. And that's how it can start. We're kind of building this goodwill with those little non-threatening touches. We're building safety. And but what makes that work is this understanding of, I want to be able to touch you and not have it mean anything beyond, this is a standalone
Mm-hmm.
event. I just
Right.
wanted to reach out. I wanted to offer a little a little affection, a little love, and have it just be that, and not be like, oh, now we're gonna get jiggy. It's like, yeah, not necessarily. So and so that's a good way to build this feeling. And another one, when maybe we're a little farther along in the process, is to make dates for love and keep them. And so it can be viewed as a little bit contrived, like, oh, we're going to set aside some time to be physically with each other. Okay, that's fine. But what happens in practice is it gives you something to look forward to. You're not ambushed by somebody wanting to, rouse up some action, and it's planned, and it's something you can look forward to. And there's ways that people can acknowledge that this is something they're looking forward to, like little notes, or just to say, hey, I'm just looking forward to our time together, just talking. And so that's a beautiful thing. And there again, one of the foundational things that helps all of this is the courage and the practice of using your voice, of being able to, tap the brakes a little bit if you're feeling something you don't want to feel, or the ability to maybe redirect and say, let's go this direction. And one of the actual practices I love is just to lie together, maybe spooning, and just breathe, and just to have that contact. And we aren't, say, going to turn it into something more, but we're tuning our energies like human tuning forks. And if we just lie together in stillness and contact and breathe, you can actually practice breathing in unison. So maybe one person's behind, and so the person in front, they can kind of hear better the other person's breathing, and so they'll match, and they'll just breathe together. And that's just a really beautiful way to connect. It's easy. There's not, so that's a good place to start too.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate, Make Money meditation today.
Yeah, just really getting connected in that way, right? Really syncing with each other. And wow, yeah, I know it's just like, yeah, I just feel like with a lot of this stuff, again, we make it all so complicated when it can be easy. But there's a lot of things like that in life where you have somebody like you that's just like, oh, okay, here's these simple things we could do to make a huge difference. And then we run into challenges and we don't know how to deal with it. We get caught up. We forget the guidance that we've been given of how to handle these situations, and or patterns take over. We go unconscious. All these different things happen. And with those, like your having those soul statements, for example, can help bring people back really quickly. So I think that's really genius, is to have, those things that are always true that you can rely on, like you come back to the truth of who you are and the truth of what the real truth is, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So Corey, that's wonderful. So let's talk more about, as we get into the energy scan segment of the show, and some business coaching probably too along the way, I'm guessing. Let's talk more about, we're going to, along these ways, everybody, if you're fascinated by what he's sharing, we're going to be talking more about how Corey helps people with this conversation, and me tuning into him. Plus, as I'm tuning in, I'm like, Corey, I'm getting this. Like, it's probably something a lot of you guys need to hear too. So we're going to dive in. So Corey, what would you say? I like to start with the big mission often. What's your big mission with your work? Like, maybe not everybody has one. Some people are like, oh, I'm just showing up to help. We'll see. Let it unfold day by day. That's fine. But if you were to have a big mission, and maybe you do have one, I am not certain. If you have a big mission with this work, the highest evolution of your work, you contributing in the world in the way you want to, and what that would mean, and through your business, like, what do you see with that?
Well, Daniel, I love the idea of people coming together and having more harmonious union and greater understanding and um, greater allowing each other maybe a little greater space for our own foibles and slip ups, and just having that be a little more gracious to each other. And so, and that was really part of the reason I wrote Soul Statements, is because I wanted to help more than one or two people at a time. And so I put a lot of my best stuff in there. And so I just see that the more we can practice better communication, better, maybe more consistent connection to our own center, then all to the good. And it also helps me keep returning to my own center place and doing the practices that are best for me, because I talk about them and it's all a reminder for me too, to uh, to remember that I have a beloved that dwells within, and that it's a gift and a joy to be here and to be of service. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I know you also told me, I seem to remember you said that once you got this one book done, that you got to downloads for like 4 or 5 more books or something. So tell us, like, so you have an idea where you want to go. So uh, so this is the foundation of how you want to help and where you're at right now. But let's say 5, 10, 20 years down the line, what do you imagine yourself doing? How will your work potentially expand?
Sure, Daniel. I imagine some more books, maybe a book for young adults or children. And I like the idea of doing a companion journal, and or maybe a book that's more just focused on the meditations and journal prompts. And I would love to do workshops. Uh, as a wilderness guide, as a primitive skills instructor, I just loved that role of the teacher, and being able to offer something of value to someone else. I love contribution, lights me up. And so, that's an evolving thing, but those are my initial thoughts.
Now, with the wilderness stuff, there's a lot of, yes, I've never done that stuff, but it's a lot of teamwork, right? I mean, there's a lot of, it's not just even a one-to-one kind of relationship. It's a whole team. And so do you have inklings to help families and things like that as well?
I hadn't thought that far. No.
Not yet. Okay, because when you say kids, then to me, then we're dealing with parents, pretty
Mm-hmm.
universally, right? Like
Yeah.
that's how I see it. So we're talking families really, and so there may be something there, like that's what I'm getting. Like it
Oh, okay.
may feel a little awkward right now. You're like, well, I don't know, like maybe, I'm not sure. You don't have kids, or do you?
I have two boys, ages
Yeah.
30 and 27.
Okay, ain't no lie. You got kids. All right. So you understand about family, so that's not an issue. But there may be some awkwardness for you around it, and this may feel more comfortable what you're doing now. Like this feels more like, oh, I really love this. This is my joy. Families, oh, it gets complicated. I don't know if it'd be as fun, or I don't know. That's the vibe I get anyway. And but what if it could be? What if it could be? What if there was a way to make families happy and have more fun? Because that's what I'm hearing. The impetus to go to kids often is let's get them while they're young, so we don't have to unpack all this stuff later, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this, yeah. So I'm just, this is where the scanning tuning in is coming in. It's like I it may be a little bit before it happens, but I just get it. Like you may be taking families out into the wilderness and couples and stuff, but I see it. So that's what I'm getting. So that's one of my downloads for you. So Anyway, what are your thoughts on that? So we'll go from there.
Yeah, thank you. Well, as you were talking, I was actually got an image of maybe a young adults, people on the cusp of adulthood, being able to give them a like a maybe mini wilderness experience and or a vision quest type, a rites of passage kind of thing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
stepping into an adulthood. And maybe with the younger ones too, that and other people are doing this too, I think, where that concept of, oh, these things that like your sensitivities are actually superpowers also, that kind of thing.
Okay, I hear you. So you're adding in like the downloads you're getting, and I'm going to come back to families. So, this is the work. So the families, I just really feel like you're really good at mediating. Like you'll be sitting there, and all of a sudden, even if it were just like almost a therapy type of thing, like people are sitting around and okay, the group dynamics are going on. Maybe you're at the retreat, right, or the wilderness thing, and we're doing a team thing. Also, like, you do it right or whatever. They start yelling at what, also they're in that unconscious moment. You're like, all right, now, wait a minute, like, what's going on for you or whatever. I could just see you like mediating the thing, helping support that person, the situation, the dynamics. I really think it'd be masterful to the point where I got this image of like, maybe this is well, anyway, I just saw like it almost like a TV sort of thing. Like everything's getting on TV these days, but I mean, like it could be more substantial than just the usual. It might be more of a Netflix special or something. Because again, if we're going to be up to something in our lives, right? I said, well, I'm just a simple soul. I don't need to do that. Leave that to others. But I really feel like this is available to you, like these things. That's why I'm going to keep pointing to it. So like you would be awesome at that. And so I'm pointing to the future. So let's talk more here. And so anyway, does that make sense what I said at least?
Yeah, it does. And I've always thought these television shows that emphasize the conflict and the survivor type stuff, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be nice to follow a group of people maybe in a wilderness setting as they learn how to cooperate and trust and thrive as and come together, and differences arise, problems show up, and then but how to work through it in a way that maintains respect for everyone, and that source of what was tension for a bit then becomes, when you get through it, then it becomes a bonding and a greater trust, and that would be really great.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Wonderful. So we're pointing towards the future. We could be looking at like a TV kind of forum. I don't know, all the details we don't need to know. All right, so now we're going to back it down to, in a way, like to where you are today. So you're here to bring harmonious union. You said use those words, and a space for people's foibles, like my foible right there. Okay, so but yeah, the space for foibles, harmonious union. How do you really actually help people today? Do you have what you're working one-to-one with people? It sounds like. So if I wanted to work with you and you're to give me a menu of how you could help me if I was your target market, what would be some of those ways? Like you got the book, you've got one-to-one. Tell me more detail about it though.
Certainly. Well, the main attitude I have, I guess, would be realizing that each person has their own genius, their own soul's purpose and destiny. And so a great part of my role is to help them access their own wisdom, and what's just right for Corey is just right for Corey. And so I help people ask better questions that lead them to better answers, and to uncover their own power and and wisdom. So,
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes where it shows up the best is in these moments of when normally you would think the worst, and to be able to have a ready-made, say, a soul statement for those times where you can say, and what I do with myself is I give myself a little smile, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel a level of humor, and I go, oh my heck, I'm thinking that horrible thing again. I'm expecting the worst for this minute. I'm doing, and so I have that little humor about it, and then I'll say, and what's really true is that, you know, I can handle this, or I'm enough. It'll be okay. The real me knows what to do. And so, but but to be able to interrupt and not go too far down the path, and it's not about, oh, I'll never think a destructive thought ever again, but it's being able to catch ourselves in those moments and redirect our thinking into something more empowering.
Great. And then, yeah, what I was really getting at, that was, I didn't want to stop that. So I'm like, yes, give us all that awesome stuff. Then, okay, if I want to hire you, is it per session? Like, I'm getting down to those details. Is it per session? Is there a package? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, both.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes people will start with one session to just kind of explore what their issues are, and if my approach to helping with that is a good fit. And then from there, generally most people do like either a 6 session package or 9 session package. I don't have more than a 9 session package because the idea is that it, coaching isn't a forever thing. They just need some more tools, and then they've got tools that they'll have the rest of their lives and can just operate at a higher level using better tools.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so people start with a single session often, and then they might go into one of these two packages. And then do you have groups too, or this is primarily what you're doing right now is the one-to-one?
Yeah, one-to-one, or just me with a couple.
Couple. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you do some couple stuff, and it works similar, like one session into like a package like that.
Yeah, and with the couples, when they're together, usually it's, instead of an hour, it's a 90 minutes, just because there's more, people with input. And uh, it generally works better to do a couple sessions with each person individually, get them with some practicing some homework and developing some tools, and then once they've had time to work on some things, then we come together, the three of us, and have all together sessions. That's
Right.
not a nice system or
Yeah.
pattern.
Yeah, that's a very common one for couples, I know. Um, so beautiful. And right now, where are you looking? So you're looking to have more one-to-one clients? Is that like
Yeah.
your okay, great. Yeah, because you mentioned like having one or two here and there, so it's not a lot right now, right? Is that true or?
Yeah, I generally have anywhere from usually 3 to 5 or 6 clients at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Okay. And then so if I wanted to do a 6 session package, am I gonna have to get out my big credit card and lay down 10 grand, or is it more like, well, several $100s, or is it something in between? You don't have to give the exact amount, or you can if you want to, but I'm
Yeah.
just curious where you're at
Yeah,
with it.
no, it's I would have to think. Um no, it's definitely under, it's not like $500 an hour or even $300 an hour. It's less than that. I don't know exactly what it works out to. Yeah.
Okay.
So we try to keep it affordable, and
Right.
yeah.
Because I got the vibe on 6 sessions. I'm like, I could probably get that for under $1,000 with them. I bet. Like, that's the vibe I got. So maybe you charge more than that sometimes, but like that's the vibe I got from you right away. Um, so it sounds like you're very like accommodating is what it feels like accommodating style. Like I'm not bend over backwards. I'm just saying like you're accommodating. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what I've seen in the coach in this kind of the corner of the coaching industry, that the fees go from like 150 to 300 an hour for sessions, and I'm pretty much right in the middle of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And how long have you been working with people on this area?
Since 2012, so however many years that is.
Okay. That's great. Okay, wonderful. Well, I can tell you that although, yeah, the average coach, out of the millions, it feels like there are like, yeah, maybe a 150 to 300, but as you know, there's coaches that charge way more, whether they're even non-business coaches, there's ones that charge way more than that as well. Some people say, well, yeah, only if you do money. And like, yeah, you could be doing anything. If you own your value and what you do and you want to charge more, there's always a market. If somebody is that, desiring to get the results, right? So it's just a good truism to bring in right away. Okay, let me just,
Indeed.
yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
oh, I was going to say indeed. And, I have a coach for the gym. I have a personal trainer. I had a writing coach when I wrote my book, and I have my own life coach. And, every single athlete has a coach. The elite athletes, have coaches. The best corporate executives, they have business, so it's increasingly a thing that people realize, oh, if I want to excel in a given area, maybe a coach, at least for a period of time, could help me, uh, leapfrog from where I am to where I want to be much more efficiently. So it's
Well, you usually aren't, yeah, coach getting the same coaching from the same person like forever, it happens every once in a while, but not very often. Usually it's a period of time, whatever it is, definitely like you were saying before, like, so I can appreciate where you're at. I do think that, okay, so my read is that, and this is more not like, earth shaking in terms of like new information probably, but it's wonderful that you've developed this in this lifetime, this incredible tenderness and connection at a deeper level, and work through all the things you work through within that matrix of like, I don't want to hurt people, I don't, I want to be good, and I'm concerned, or what, all those things you work through, and now you're in a phase in your life where there's like, and I'm sure you've worked with this dynamic already, all the work you've done on yourself, but there is this like increasingly a mandate to roar like that lion, and to be in a stronger masculine energy as well. And you could still be, the essential you that you are, right? So, but that's what's coming through is just like, okay, now if you were willing to be really strong like that, champion knight, like in a badass way, you could see great growth in your business. You don't, again, it's not one of those things like they say, unsheathing the sword, concept or whatever. Like you don't have to unsheath it 24/7. Now we're going to a whole different Corey that doesn't, it's not really you. But I think the full you would be like, yeah, maybe I'm at 2% of unsheathing right now, or I don't know. I'm just making up numbers. I don't know if that's true. But like unsheath it like maybe more like 5 to 10 or 20%, maybe that would be like your sweet spot, like we're all different. Some of us are like, oh, 90% unsheathed. Everybody, I feel everybody's path is different. Everybody's different, right? So I think for you, like bringing that, your sort of truth in that, just let's go, let's make this, let's see something happen here. Mixing that in more, it seems really potent for your work, but also for expanding your business. Realize, hey, there's no way you guys are going to work through this even in 9 sessions. We definitely going to need at least 6 months, like getting strong with that. Cause I know I just know that I know for further development that there's clients that you have that can use that. And I know you know that's true. So it's like you're avoiding a truth by not offering it. It's like, well, I'll just keep doing 6. Okay, what if you were to have a premium package? What if you were to go to 6 months, like or whatever you think is appropriate, but like there's another level, and that's what I'm getting. So okay, so I'll pause there so you can reflect and share what you feel.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Uh, there is an occasional person that just keeps going a more an ongoing basis because the conversations we have feel so generative and informative and helpful that they just keep going. And that's up to the person. And they just keep buying another package, and that's fine. And those are rewarding to me because I get to see such drastic progress over time. So, yeah, a person isn't necessarily limited to the 9 sessions. That being said, I try to deliver enough value so that in 6 or 9 sessions, they're in pretty transformed place, say in their relationship or just the way they relate to the world. So yeah, I can certainly look at other offerings, the bigger offerings, like a 6-month or a spend a year with me, just self-betterment. Yeah.
Because if you set up the frame up front, Corey, the idea is it's not, some people are afraid I'm being a con artist. I'm talking about something they may not need, It's like that old thing, like it's like what is that? The word I'm looking for. But like, go to the mechanic. They're like, yeah, you only need a few things done. Somebody else is gonna tell you need the whole overall. I ain't that guy. I'm the good guy. And so for you, like, I think you need to embrace, like, yeah, actually you would benefit from an overall. Like, let's go even deeper. And because yes, many of these people, I know your work's so potent. Yes, it could be completely transformed in a sense in 6 sessions. I get that. I feel that. I know that. But I'm saying is like it's just look at all the work you've done, all of what you've received. There's no way they're going to get that in 6 sessions. And some people want that. So, but they won't know that they want that from you until you offer it. So you have to put it on the map. I do have this bigger opportunity for certain people, limited number or whatever, but this premium package so they can, go from mastering tantra or what. Again, I don't know. Like, I'm just making stuff up at that point, but that's what I'm getting is like to have that on the table. I think it'll be one of those things you'll be like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. And you might start backing off, and then back and forth. It's how we are with new ideas often. But it's like, if you were to just trust that man, I have so much wisdom, knowledge, and things that I could share with certain, with the right people, the people that are really hungry for a lot. I would love to do that and find that place inside yourself. That would be amazing. Anyway, so that's what my nugget.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. That it is true that I've spent so many months and years and decades developing, going to communication workshops, 6-month-long tantra programs, the Tony Robbins, the working on understanding and applying better self-care, the relationship stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, I've studied years at these various places. And I mean, if somebody just wanted just communication or just tantra or just self-care, just soul statements, certainly we could spend a long time if somebody wanted to focus just on one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. There's a huge play box, and I'm saying play more, serve more. You'll be happy, they'll be happy. It doesn't have to be huge numbers of people, but that you offer that. And then as you continue to expand and get stronger with offering bigger opportunities, bigger packages, it's just going to lead towards these next steps. hey, now I feel more confident, stronger with the idea of doing these whatever, couples, families. I don't know. For me, I see it like it's on a timeline that you may or may not go down, but I totally see it. So these things become more available. And yeah, so anyway, so for today, sometimes I go deep and I go through all the chakras and all that stuff deep in that way. And sometimes it's more like this on the energy scan show, but that's what I'm getting with on an energetic and strategic level is what I'm getting for you today on today's show. So Corey, I'm grateful to share that with you. And obviously I just mentioned it seems like a natural place to tell people. So this is how I help people. And then if we wanted to get it done, like, yeah, we would do more coaching, right? So now we got to develop, okay, what's it going to be and get that aligned and ready to and take the actions and everything. So that's where the ongoing, work happens. I'm just grateful to, you being open to come on the show and share everything you did. And, also to receive, scanning and coaching from me today. So I appreciate that so much.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate everything you've said, and I'm taking it to heart.
Awesome. So now, before we go, I'm sure there's people are just, again, you're one of those irresistible people for many people anyway. And where can people reach out to you and connect with you more and take advantage of your work?
Certainly. My website is called corerelationship.com. And there's a link on my website to get a copy of Soul Statements. There's an Amazon link, and there's also a bookshop.org link. The nice thing about bookshop.org is you can pick a local bookstore that's your, a favored bookstore, and then it doesn't cost you any more, but part of the money of the purchase goes to that bookstore to support the brick and mortar retailers. So that's a very nice program. And so I have a favorite bookstore, Arc Books in Santa Fe, and I just love them. So that's who I pick. But, and so, yeah, corerelationship.com. I have a Facebook and Instagram, Pinterest, but all that is listed on corerelationship.com. And that's the clearinghouse, the central place.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And we're going to put all your contact links and whatnot as well into the show notes. And so, guys, you take advantage of, the book, and also and then where's the best place for them to contact you if they want that? So you got corerelationship.com on our screen. So is that the best place, or?
Yeah, there's an ability to send me an email through there. There's an ability to book a session. There's the ability to purchase soul statements. So that's the thing. And yeah.
Okay.
I used to have my phone number, but nobody ever called. They just want to email, which is fun.
Yeah. Sometimes that works out. Sometimes it doesn't. It depends on how you present it. That's my, okay. I'm going to the business coach talk again. Okay. So anyway, everybody, if you want to reach out to me, you can find me at yoursacredpurpose.com. If you want to, I am definitely all about the yin and the yang. If you haven't noticed by now, I've got a meditation there. It's very much the magical, beautiful energy that a lot of you enjoy. It helps you to meditate and make money. So take advantage of my free meditate, make money meditation. You can get that at yoursacredpurpose.com. And then also you do have the opportunity to get this sort of support that you've watched here. Just check out my Your Sacred Purpose, Rock Your Sacred Purpose energy scan consultation, I should say. You can check that out and purchase that. It's, oh my God, it's a very small investment for what will get accomplished, in that session. So check that out as well at yoursacredpurpose.com. All right, Corey. Well, yeah, man, I'm like, wow, we got so much more to talk about on all levels. But we're going to cap it off there today. But I'm very grateful for you to be a guest today. And I'm filled with amazing sense of love in my heart for you and your work and what you're doing. And just so grateful you've been on the show today.
Thank you, Daniel. I've enjoyed it very much.
All right, everybody. So for the rest of you, keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till the next time, everyone. Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.